Hello, how are you? I want to share a beautiful story with you with a touch of sadness. Throughout the centuries, a mirror was placed before black women. It was not made of glass, but of words, of glances, of laws, of absences. A mirror that did not reflect her truth, but rather the deformity of the one holding it. History does not justly record her face. It hides it within the folds of narratives written by hands that feared her strength, because it was ever about them not being beautiful. That was a convenient lie, the coward's pretext. The ugliness was not in her features, but in the eye that looked with fear, in a mind that, unable to bear its own smallness, needed to push others into the abyss to feel elevated. Racism, that ghost which still walks among us, was born from the most pathological inferiority complex humanity has ever known. That of those who, possessing everything, felt they were not enough. Those who built empires on the backs of others and discovered that stolen power does not fill the inner void. So then, like spoiled children who throw the toy they cannot master, they decided that if they could not possess the beauty of these women, their resilience, their ability to create life where only death existed, their laughter that transcended the whip, they would at least destroy it. They were told their hair was difficult, that their hips were excessive, that their lips were too much. Every feature that made them unique was turned into a defect, not because they were, but because the oppressor, looking at them, saw their own insufficiency reflected. The inferiority complex works like this. It projects, whoever feels small must make others small. Whoever lives in fear must sow fear. And so, generations of black women carried a weight that was not theirs. They were taught to hate their skin before they could love it, to straighten hair that curled like poetry, to lower their voices that sang of ancestry, to apologize for taking up space in a world that owed them everything and had given them crumbs. But here is what history did not expect. The mirror broke, not all at once, but in 1,000 cracks of resistance. In the grandmother who kept oral tradition alive when she was forbidden to read. In the mother who worked 3 jobs so her daughter could have what she did not. In a young woman who today looks at the camera with a crown that no one gave her, because she learned to forge it from her own ashes. What was called ugliness was always envy, disguised as science. A complex disguised as aesthetics. Cowardice disguised as superiority. Racism is not a theory about race. It is a diagnosis of the one who practices it. The black woman does not need us to declare her beautiful today. She deserves that we recognize she always was. In a mirror we never knew how to see, honestly. That the historical error was not hers, but that of those who, blinded by their own insecurities, tried to extinguish a light that, it turns out, was inextinguishable. And now, when she finally looks at herself and sees where she always was queen without a crown, poetry without a publisher, beauty without permission, the world must bow. Not out of charity, but out of belated justice. Because she did not change. It was the mirror that was always broken. Thank you for listening to me. Subscribe and share if you identify with my story. And remember, I walk alone with God.